The draft night had been a blur, flashing lights, roaring cheers, and 1,000 camera shutters capturing history in real time. But none of it compared to what happened the next morning. At 7:02 a.m., Shedeur Sanders awoke to a single message on his phone. It wasn't from an agent or a sponsor. It was from his father, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Dad, greater than son, $4.6 million is a blessing. But your heart, your grind, and your name, those are priceless. Love you always. Proud doesn't begin to cover it. Pops, simple. Raw, perfect. Shedeur sat up in the hotel bed, staring at the message. His new team, the one that had just selected him, was sending over paperwork. ESPN was blowing up with comparisons to past greats. But that one text, that hit deeper than any sports headline, his father, once the flashiest, most dominant figure in football, had never been just about the glitz. Beneath the gold chains and sunglasses, there was a man who had carved his children's path with his own blood and sacrifice. Shedeur remembered being 12, too young to understand what legacy really meant. All he knew was that his dad was Coach Prime, the man who walked like confidence had a heartbeat. But even then, Deion was drilling fundamentals into him, not just about football, but about life. Respect the grind, son, he'd say, because the grind don't care who your daddy is. The draft night flashback. The room had been electric. Cameras zoomed in as the commissioner called Shedeur's name. Cheers erupted. His mother hugged him tightly. Friends clapped. But the one embrace that lingered was from Deion. No words, just a long, firm hug. The kind that says, I see all the work you put in when no one was looking. After the cameras left, Shedeur asked him quietly, what do you think, Pops? I made it. Deion smiled, took off his sunglasses and said, you started it, back at Boulder. A quiet moment. The media was trying to get reactions from every angle. Analysts, former players, social media influencers. But Shedeur made one phone call after his nap. Pops, you busy? Always, son, but for you? Never. They met back at Folsom Field in Boulder, the place that had been home for the past 2 years. Deion sat at the 50-yard line wearing a CU hoodie, legs crossed, a football in his lap. Shedeur walked across the field, slower than usual. Feels weird, he said, sitting beside him, like I'm already missing it. Deion chuckled. You're supposed to miss it. That means you valued it. A silence stretched between them. Pops, I got $4.6 million coming my way. What would you have done with that kind of money at my age? Deion smirked, wasted half, saved the rest, bought a gold car, then realized none of it compared to buying my mom her first house. Shedeur nodded slowly. I'm thinking of doing something for the family, too. You already did, Deion said. You honored the name. Not everyone gets to be a Sanders. Even fewer live up to it. Coach Prime's letter. The viral moment. A day later, the official NFL account posted a handwritten letter. Coach Prime had penned it himself, and it had found its way into the media. Greater than to my son, my quarterback, my legacy. Greater than you've been doubted, overlooked, called the product of privilege and nepotism. But you outworked all of them, not because you had to, but because you refused to let my shadow be your only light. Greater than I watched you train when cameras were off. Saw you ice your shoulder without complaint. I heard every word they said about you, and watched you silence them not with anger, but with excellence. Greater than $4.6 million is your reward, but your worth, immeasurable. Greater than walk humbly, lead boldly, love fiercely. Greater than, and always remember, greater than this game doesn't define you, but how you play it will define your legacy. Greater than love, Dad. Shedeur's response in a post-draft press conference, a reporter asked him, what was it like reading that letter from your dad? Shedeur leaned forward, his voice steady. You know, when your dad is Coach Prime, the world thinks you get everything handed to you. But I had to fight just to be seen as me. That letter? That was the first time I felt like I wasn't just my father's son, I was his peer. He paused. I didn't make it because of him. I made it because I listened to him. Legacy moments. The Sanders family dinner later that weekend, the Sanders family gathered for dinner in Dallas. No cameras, no agents, just ribs, potato salad, cornbread, and laughter. Dean looked around the table, his children, his mother, old teammates who had become uncles to his kids. He raised a glass to Shedeur, not just the quarterback of the future, but the man who showed us that humility, faith, and discipline can still lead you to the top. His mother added, and to my baby who never forgot to call grandma, even after signing a deal like that. The whole table erupted in laughter.